What's up, guys? If you click this video, it's probably because you wanted to see a little preview of what Iowa is going to look like in the 2019 season. And basically what we're doing is we're looking at the final AP top 25 poll, and we're going to break them down. So number 25 is Iowa, and we're going to start with the last season overview. Last season they went 9-4.
So 9-4 with the bowl win, 8-4 regular season.
With a Mississippi State win against in the bowl game at 27-22. Although in the season they had a three-game losing streak, by less than 7 points. So I mean, they did. It's not like they were getting beat by a lot. There was only one game where they got beat a lot by, and that was
that's by Penn State.
What was the score on that one?
30-24. Only a 6-point game. Then they went at Purdue, lost 2 points, and were home to Northwestern, lost by 4 points. So yeah, it's not like they're not getting blown out here. Yeah. So they're in close games here, but they are losing key pieces.
Yeah, I think one of the things that so like obviously when you look at Iowa football in the past like 3 years, they've been pretty consistent on what they do. Obviously they're big on the 8-4 seasons. I think there was only one season when they were like 4-8 or something like that.
Yep.
But I think for the 2019 season, they have some concerns coming up. I think one of the concerns is the loss of like the key production players like Noah Fant and T.J. Hawkinson.
Oh yeah.
And also, and so that tight end position is going to be really hard to fill.
Big tight end school. Big tight end U.
Yeah,
someone said.
basically. So like I think, but I mean they do have one young guy. He's a sophomore, I think. So I think he'll do all right. I think he should do all right, especially in the offense, especially with a quarterback like Nate Stanley, which is another. He's going to be one of the key pieces to the 2019 season.
I think another concern that we can talk about, aside from losing their key production, which is the two tight ends, are losing 3 or 4 of their defensive linemen.
Yeah, so they lost their 2 defensive ends. The only good returner is AJ Espinoza. I think that's his name. Espinoza. AJ Espinoza. He had 10.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, so he could definitely play. I think the best, if he gets an All-American status, I think they'll be
preseason All-American.
Yeah.
If they're gonna have an okay defense, not the same level of defense they had last year. I think if they lose games this coming season, it will be by much wider margins because they're losing that experience at D-line.
Yeah, but I do think that having that anchor is pretty beneficial. I think the overall defense might do well, just because they're always pretty strong and pretty stout. So I think they'll be all right.
True. It's true.
And now that we talked about a little bit of the concerns for the 2019 season, now we'll move to the returning starters. So obviously we talked about AJ Epineza, which is going to be a huge key player that we're going to have to watch, just because he makes a lot of good plays. Obviously we've seen film on him, so he does. He has the ability to get off blocks, use his hands. He's quick off the edge.
Yep.
Obviously another guy is Nate Stanley. He has currently 5,137 passing yards career. He will be the third 3-year starter for Iowa, which is pretty amazing.
That's not especially because I'm nervous for him in the sense of he won't have the production factor with Noah Fant and T.J. Hawkinson.
Well, when I looked at his stats, I think it was in the year before. Oh wait, did he still had Noah Fant,
yeah.
didn't he? Okay, so I don't know exactly how they will do without him.
I'm just which I guess you could say that sophomore tight end is kind of a returning player. I imagine he's learned a lot underneath Noah Fant and T.J. Hawkinson, but I'm concerned that he's just inexperienced. He's just still too young. He's not going to do as well as them. Obviously, those were they both top or first round?
Yeah, they were first rounders.
Amazing. I don't think he'll be able to live up to that in his 1 year starting. But but I imagine Nathan Stanley's going to do okay, but not as well as he did this.
I think
this year.
Overall, I think so Iowa is in a good spot. I think they have 14 returning starters, so they'll have consistent guys coming in. So it's not like they're reloading a whole bunch of guys. It's only what is that? At 21, right? Yeah, so it's only 7 guys that they have to fill. So it's not like it's a huge deficit that they're under. But I think that key positions are what's to watch, and obviously the receiving core is coming back, so they'll be. If they can get on the right page with Nate Stanley, I think they'll be all right. I think they'll have a better passing attack. I think that if he does really well, they'll be easily one of the best teams in the Big Ten.
What I don't know if you're aware of, but I think they put out a ranking. I can't remember who. Probably the Big Ten Network. They put out a ranking of the best returning quarterbacks, and they had Nathan Stanley in number 3 position.
Okay, I think I've seen it.
Yeah, and that bodes well for him, and that gives Iowa Hawkeye fan base a lot of lots of hanging their hat on, and they're hoping they're going to be putting a lot of expectation on them. But what I'm a little concerned is his accuracy, in the sense of that last year Nathan Stanley only completed 59.3% of his passes.
Yeah,
which is not great, but not bad. So if he can get that above 60% and get back to his close to 3,000 yards per game, 3,000 yards per season, I think they're gonna be either at the same level they were this year, or maybe just slightly better.
I think that makes a huge. I think also coming in as a third-year starter makes a huge difference. Obviously, because you have the experience, you have all the games already piled up, and also the fact that you went through another spring practice, another spring game, another fall camp, another summer camp. So you have all this experience and all this work coming into the third season. So it means a lot, especially. The fact that he has the most experiences in the Big Ten West as a quarterback. So he has, in the Big Ten West is pretty, there aren't many quarterbacks that have as many starts as he does. So basically, all Iowa's success really depends on how well he plays. Also, so basically, so the strengths of the Iowa team is really quarterback, I would say.
Quarterback play, definitely.
Wide receiver core, because they're returning. I think that they'll be pretty solid.
Aside from losing graduates.
Right. Running back duo, I think it was Mekhi Sargent and Torin Young. I think they'll be a big component to their offense.
Yes.
They like to run the ball. Obviously, they're a big offensive line. If those running backs need to,
they gotta bail them out. They gotta bail out.
Exactly. They gotta help them out. Get some runs in, get some good, just some 5-yarders or whatever.
I think we're all aware that Iowa runs the ball real mean. So I think they will be bailing him out in times of maybe 3rd and short or 2nd and short or 2nd with a need of getting some good yardage. But I think you're right on the sense of that O-line is I think you mentioned to me earlier that they're most of them are returning.
Yeah. So their O-line is basically they have all 4. So they have their tackles, guards are coming back, so both of them. So that's 4 returning starters on the offensive line. The only spot that needs to be filled is the center. They're gonna have a redshirt freshman coming in. Obviously, he doesn't have the experience, but I think his ability, his agility, his skills are gonna make up for his inexperience.
All right. Yeah.
I think that's but I mean, there is something with the center's position. Obviously, he has to be on cue with the quarterback. So obviously, we might see some of that happening this season.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be all right for the most part.
So moving on to weaknesses, I think the key weakness for this Iowa on the offense, if we're okay to move on to the offense, the key weakness for the offense is that inexperience at tight end, where like you mentioned earlier, they lost their 2 best tight ends in possibly the country.
Best Iowa football history.
Yeah, it's they did something special.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, that sophomore, just his inexperience is going to be, I think it's going to be exposed.
Yeah, it might be. I think that Nate Stanley might be able to make up for that. I think though. So I think they'll be okay as long as they understand they don't have those guys there anymore.
But they are a big, heavy tight end school.
They are. So that does make sense. But yeah, I think also I'm gonna go add with center on the offensive side of the ball. I think that center position is kind of pretty important. Obviously, the skills and the athleticism that center might have might not make up for everything, especially when the center has to call out where the blitz is coming from, where the pressure is coming from. Basically, he has to make sure that his offensive line is on the same page with their quarterback and just be able to protect the quarterback. So I think that's the biggest thing that I see as a weakness. And also, I think on the defensive side of the ball, I think I would have to say probably defensive line. They only have one guy, which is just AJ Epineza, which he is the only guy that I think might be able to get a lot of sacks out there. Linebacker seems a little weak too. Defense in general might be a little weak, but I think they'll be able to plug bodies. I think that if they all come together, I think they can make a difference.
Yeah, so definitely, I think offense will be be probably at the same level as it was this past season, and defense is going to be just a little bit below average is what they're known to be. So I think another strength that we might be skipping over is the coaching as well.
Oh yeah.
With Ferentz, I might be pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah.
But the head coach, he's still going to be at Iowa. He's a great coach. We all know that, and I think he's going to be able to lead the team to more success. So.
Yeah, obviously they did have that 12-2 season not too long ago. So obviously he knows what he's doing. Obviously his staff is really talented. So they'll get their guys right. Moving on to obviously their 2019 schedule is a lot tougher than it was last year.
Yes.
They do have a good early games with like Miami, Ohio, Rutgers, Iowa State, and then they have a bye. So that's the 4. So what do you think of the first 4 weeks?
First 4 weeks, I'm thinking 3-0. Easy.
3-0? Yeah, I see that too. I do see that Iowa State might be a little bit of a tighter game just because Iowa State, obviously their head coaching is obviously pretty good too. So obviously they have, what is it, that Purdy kid?
Yes.
Iowa State. So obviously they'll be pretty good.
Purdy?
I think
you're right.
All right, and then obviously after that, then they have Middle Tennessee, at Michigan, Penn State, Purdue, at Northwestern, and then another bye. So what do you in that little meat of the schedule? That gets a little tough.
That's tough. That's real tough. I mean, they'll have I think they're gonna have a cakewalk. Middle Tennessee. I think that's everyone can assume that. I'm thinking they might go 1-3.
1-3.
1-3 in this stretch. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping Northwestern.
Yeah, you are.
I'm thinking 2-3.
2-3.
2-3.
You know what? I'm not quite sure yet. I think Middle Tennessee might be looked at as a trap game. Obviously, heading so that's the game right before the Michigan game, which is I'm pretty sure it's a night game for at Michigan. So, but I think that they'll be able to pull off an upset here and there. It might be at Michigan. So I think it was the last time that they played was in 2016, 2017. I can't remember, but I think Michigan was the number 3 ranked team. They headed over to Iowa and they lost as the number 3 ranked team.
That. So, I'm thinking easy win Middle Tennessee, with preparation for Michigan, but I think they fall short at Michigan in the big house. Then they host Penn State. I'm thinking that's a loss, another one. And then they host Purdue. And I'm thinking Purdue's on a big upswing with Jeff Brom. I'm thinking it's a win for Purdue.
They don't have a quarterback, so I'm gonna stop you right there because Purdue doesn't have a quarterback. But I do see that. I do kind of see that. Middle Tennessee State obviously is gonna be a win. Michigan at Michigan is gonna be a tougher game. I think that Iowa might pull up the upset right there. I think Iowa gets the win. Penn State, I do think they'll beat Penn State. Honestly, now that I think about it, they lost a lot of production.
Don't have Trace McSorley. They lost a lot of people from transfers. A lot of receivers transfer out.
Michigan has had a lot of transfers too,
as well as just graduates, and a lot of people enter the draft early. So.
Yeah. Also the fact that Michigan lost. So when we get to Michigan, we'll break them down a little bit. But obviously we could see that obviously they lost a lot of defensive players.
As well, you have to take into account the talent gap from Michigan and Iowa. So I just feel like Michigan's gonna have the upper hand with better players.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think they'll be able to beat Penn State. Purdue might be a little iffy. At Northwestern, I think Northwestern is a little bit more tougher. I think Northwestern is one of those teams that's very underrated every year. Obviously, they have Hunter Johnson coming back, so transferring to them.
Yeah. He's gonna start now.
He's gonna be playing there.
He's trying to win the starting position.
But everybody knows that he'll get it. He was a 5-star quarterback, so obviously he might be the quarterback to start for Northwestern. So after that, then they have a bye, and then they finish the season with Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, and at Nebraska.
Yes. I want to hear your opinion first.
Okay.
I want to hear yours.
I think they'll be at Wisconsin. I think they'll lose to Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's a much better team. Minnesota, I think they beat Minnesota. I think they beat Illinois, and I think they will lose to Nebraska. I think they'll lose to Nebraska. I think Nebraska under Scott Frost is going to get better every week. That's a tough game, especially to end the season. Especially away, it's not going to be it's not going to be a very easy game. But I think that Nebraska might pull out that win.
I'm thinking 2-2.
2-2.
2-2. But I'm thinking wins over Illinois and Nebraska. So they're going to have that 2-game losing streak at Wisconsin, and then home to Minnesota. But Minnesota, I think PJ Fleck is doing great stuff over at Minnesota. That I just think they're going to be too much for Iowa to handle.
Yeah, Minnesota is bringing back a lot of talent too. So yeah, you're right.
And then an easy trip over or hosting Illinois, and I think it is another easy win. And at Nebraska, I'm thinking it's another easy win. Although it is a hostile environment over at Nebraska, but I think Scott Frost, great coach. He's doing everything. He's doing everything great. I don't see a 4-8 team jumping to these 10-2 seasons that everybody keeps projecting them to be.
Sir, I believe in Scott Frost.
I believe too. I'm just saying it takes. You gotta take incremental steps. So I'm thinking this 4-8 Nebraska is gonna jump up maybe a few more wins.
Okay. So after looking at this whole schedule, what do you think the worst case scenario is for Iowa football?
Worst case scenario Iowa football, in my opinion, 6-6.
6-6.
This team, like we said, is still good enough where they're gonna be able to put points on the board, but defensively they're not gonna be able to stop a lot of teams. So I'm thinking 6-6. They're still good enough to be a bowl eligible team.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that. I definitely have them as a worst case scenario being 6-6. I think that their schedule is a lot tougher than it was last year. Obviously, I think with the games at Michigan, obviously Penn State, Purdue, Northwestern. I think that's a pretty tough game. Stretch right there, so that's gonna be tough. And then going to Wisconsin right after a bye, which I mean they will be prepared for that, but it will be at Wisconsin. I think that gets a little tougher too. Obviously, and then you might have a couple upsets here and there, letdowns from Iowa. So that's what I see them. I see them at 6-6 as a worst case scenario, especially with I think Nebraska at the end. So and then what do you think the most likely record would be?
Most likely, I'm thinking they're gonna be back at 8-4. Back at 8-4 regular season, get invited to a decent bowl, 8-4, and I'm thinking they're probably gonna win that. I'll hang my hat on it. They're gonna win that. I think they're gonna end the season 9-4 with the bowl win. Just a regular old season for Iowa. Nothing to be ashamed of either. So
no, they're obviously that's what brings in their recruits and stuff. So, but obviously I do see that also as a most likely scenario is basically they'll go 8-4 in the regular season, get that bowl win, 9-4. I think they'll finish 9-4 again for the second year in a row, which is not a bad thing. I think that's one of the good things, to have that winning culture that you're gonna be steady for a while.
Right.
So, what do you think if everything goes right for Iowa football? What is the best case scenario?
Everything goes right. I still like with all the flaws that we pointed out earlier. I'm still thinking they're not going undefeated, but I think they're going to be at best case scenario 9-3. And I think that's really good. They get invited to a really good bowl. Bowl that people look forward to watching on when it comes to bowl season. And I'm thinking they win that one as well, 10-3. At best case scenario with the bowl win, like we said before, the team can put up points. Defense is going to be a problem.
What do you think that they could get a little bit to the the conference championship?
Do you think I think they can get there?
Yeah. Conference championship.
Not with a 9-3 season. To win the West.
Yeah.
Are they in the West? I don't. You know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and say I think they can win the West. I think they can win the West, get invited to the Big Ten championship, but then might get steamrolled in the championship.
We might see.
We might have to see. Yeah.
But I also agree with that. I think that either. I think it all really it all depends on how well Stanley does. If he does really well this season, I think he will, or I think he could. I think the best case scenario for Iowa football is going 10-2, losing 2 games. I think the 2 games that they would probably lose to is Wisconsin for sure. I think, and then I would have possibly maybe an upset here by I think Nebraska or something. But I think I think Nebraska might be a sleeper for me. But I guess we'll see. We'll see.
And with that 10-2 record, we're gonna assume that they're gonna be invited to the championship.
They're going to the conference championship, and I think that they'll put up a fight. But I'm not too sure on the other side yet. Obviously, there's Michigan and Ohio State. But I'm not too sure how Ohio State would do, especially with the new quarterback, a new head coach.
Yes.
So, but I think the leader or like the favorite for that division is definitely Michigan. I would have Michigan right now, but I would also say that Ohio State has had the better of Michigan, so guess we'll see.
Yep.
But I do think that Iowa definitely could be up for a good team for a good year, especially with 10-2 or a 9-3 season, which is still good. I think they'll finish the regular season either 9-3 or 10-2, depending on how well Stanley does.
I'm thinking 8-9, 8 to 9 wins, 8 to 9 wins. Regular old Iowa team, nothing to be ashamed of, and they're just gonna keep building from here. So.
Yeah, obviously that's probably that's really good. Obviously, guys, if you like this. we're gonna do more.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going.
Keep going.
We're
Obviously, we're at 25, 24 next week. We're gonna get Cincinnati. Then after that, we'll get 23, 22, 21. Thanks, guys.